There are places on Earth so remote, so untouched, that it's as if the world itself forgot they ever existed. No roads lead to them, no tourists crowd their paths, and yet they're very much alive, hidden in plain sight. From cliffside villages swallowed by mist to mountain hamlets carved into stone, these aren't ruins of war or wastelands of time. These are the forgotten dreams of civilization, preserved by nature, not destroyed by it. No postcards ever featured them. No guidebooks marked their trails. And yet the air still moves through their narrow streets. The silence here doesn't feel empty. It feels sacred. In these places, time doesn't pass. It lingers. You'll see homes grown into rock, stairways that vanish into jungle, and entire villages that seem to float between centuries. They are echoes, not of what was lost, but of what survived. This is not just a travel video. This is a journey into places the modern world has quietly left behind. Not out of fear, but forgetfulness. And when you see them, you may wonder why we ever left. So come with us to 20 hidden towns the world abandoned, but that you'll never forget. Off the eastern coast of China, on a remote island called Shengshan, lies a village that looks more like a dream than a memory. Hutuan was once a thriving fishing community. Now it's been completely swallowed by nature, not abandoned in ruin, but enveloped in silence and green. Here ivy pours over rooftops like waterfalls, stairways vanish into soft moss, and houses seem to dissolve into the hillside, as though the land itself has taken them back. If you didn't know better, you'd think this was the set of a fantasy film, but it's entirely real. In the 1990s, the villagers left, not because of disaster, but because modern life drifted away from the island. No one could keep up with the changing economy, and so, one by one, families moved inland, leaving behind their homes, but not their history. And now what's left is something surreal. Nature sculpting civilization. Every window frames a wall of green. Trees curl through floorboards. It's not just peaceful, it's poetic. A place once alive with people, now pulsing with the quiet rhythm of the earth. Very few people visit Hutuan. It's hard to reach. There's no real tourism, and maybe that's why it feels so untouched. Like time forgot it on purpose. A village sleeping beneath vines, wrapped in stillness, but never truly gone. In the middle of the Philippine Sea, hundreds of kilometers from Tokyo, lies an island that doesn't look real. A perfect circle of green rising from the ocean, with smoke still rising from its volcanic heart. This is Aogashima. A place so isolated, it feels like the edge of the world. At first glance, it looks abandoned, just forest, cliffs, and craters. But look closer, and you'll find a tiny village hidden deep in the island's caldera. Fewer than 200 people live here, surrounded by silence, sea spray, and the ever-present breath of the volcano below. There are no traffic lights, no shopping malls, no tourist traps. Only winding trails, rain-drenched jungles, and staircases etched into lava rock. The entire island hums with stillness, like the earth itself is holding its breath. What keeps them here? Maybe it's the purity of the air or the untouched rhythm of life. Aogushima's villagers farm, fish, and steam their food using geothermal vents. Time doesn't speed up here. It stretches, unfolds, and curls like mist over the crater rim. Few people have ever set foot on this island. Fewer still know it exists. With no commercial flights, no large ferry ports, and unpredictable weather, Aogashima doesn't just hide from the world, it disappears into it. And yet it stands, vibrant, mysterious, suspended in the heart of a sleeping volcano. Not abandoned in decay, but preserved in silence. Aogashima isn't a forgotten ruin. It's a secret, and the earth has been keeping it well. Perched high above the arid plains of Tunisia, Takruna doesn't announce itself with grandeur. It simply waits to be discovered. A Berber village built on stone and silence. Its presence is quiet, but it lingers in the air like a prayer. Once home to Amazigh, Arab, and Andalusian families, Takruna's streets now whisper more than they speak. Fewer than a dozen people still live here, and most days the sun rises and sets over empty rooftops and still doorways. The village feels like it belongs in two worlds at once, one rooted in ancient earth and another drifting just above the clouds. Its domed shrines, blue doors, and stone alleyways glow under the harsh North African light, as if preserved in amber. Takruna isn't abandoned in the tragic sense. It's simply been forgotten, left out of time, left off the map, and left to age with grace. You won't find it on top 10 lists, but if you do find it, you'll never want to leave. From its rocky summit, the view stretches endlessly. Olive groves melt into desert, and the line between sky and land becomes a soft blur. It's not just a place, it's a moment you can walk into. There's a town in central Italy where time doesn't just stand still, it floats. Perched high on a column of crumbling volcanic rock, Civita di Bagnoregio isn't just remote, it's barely reachable. The only way in is across a long footbridge suspended between worlds, one of concrete and one of memory. Locals call it La Città che Muore, the dying city. But the truth is, it's not dying, it's resisting. For over 2,500 years, this hilltop village has defied gravity, erosion, earthquakes, and even silence. And still, its stone arches and winding alleys stand proud against the sky. Walking through Civita feels like stepping into a dream Italy forgot to wake from. Ivy-draped windows, empty piazzas echoing with nothing but the wind, and homes that glow orange at dusk, as if the sun itself is reluctant to leave. Only a handful of people live here now, but that's the magic. There are no cars, no noise. Just the sound of footsteps on ancient stone and church bells that ring for no one in particular. It's a silence that doesn't feel abandoned. It feels chosen. Beneath your feet, the cliffs are slowly crumbling, bit by bit, year by year. One day, this entire village may disappear into the valley below, but for now it hangs suspended between earth and sky, memory and myth. Tucked deep in the mountains of Hunan, where rivers run quiet and the morning fog never quite lifts, lies a town that feels like it was painted into existence. Fenghuang. Its name means phoenix, and like the myth, it rises, timeless, untouched, and barely known to the world. Tucked deep in the mountains of Hunan, where rivers run quiet and the morning fog never quite lifts, lies a town that feels like it was painted into existence. Fenghuang. Its name means phoenix, and like the myth, it rises, timeless, untouched, and barely known to the world. Most visitors never find it, and those who do often leave with more questions than answers. Who built this place beside the river? Why does it feel like the town is watching you? And how has it survived? Not against time, but alongside it. The bridges curve like poetry. The rooftops drip with rain and memory. Every plank, every cobblestone carries the hush of centuries. There are still families here, artists, merchants, but much of the town seems suspended, waiting. Fenghuang doesn't feel forgotten because it's empty. It feels forgotten because it chose to remain quiet while the world grew loud. It is not abandoned, it is hidden, and that, perhaps, is its greatest magic. Hidden deep within the Caucasus Mountains, where roads dissolve into dust and clouds skim the rooftops, lies a place so ancient it doesn't feel real. This is Shatili, a village built not just to survive time, but to outlast it. At first glance, it resembles a fortress from myth. Dark stone towers stacked against a cliffside like a medieval jigsaw. But this wasn't fantasy. This was home. For centuries, entire families lived here, layered in stone and shadow. Each building blends into the next. Houses fortified as walls, rooftops serving as streets, creating a vertical maze of terraces and tunnels. It was a village designed for defense and for the harsh silence of the mountains. Today, only a handful of people remain, mostly in summer. In winter, the valley closes like a storybook. Snow seals the roads, fog floods the pass, and the towers sleep in stillness, as if the world itself hit pause. But here's the strange part. Nothing feels ruined. No broken glass, no burnt wood, just stone, time, and sky. Shatili wasn't abandoned in a panic. It was simply left behind, and nature, in its quiet way, kept watch. Rising from the heart of central Turkey, Uçhisar looks less like a village and more like a forgotten kingdom carved straight from the bones of the earth. At its center towers a giant rock, riddled with windows, tunnels, and stairways, an ancient citadel hollowed by human hands over 1,000 years ago. This is not a place built upon land. It's a place sculpted into it. The homes are not surrounded by cliffs. They are the cliffs. Layers of volcanic stone, shaped by wind and carved by civilizations long vanished, still cradle families, memories, and the whisper of centuries. Wander just beyond the main paths and you'll find abandoned chambers and empty cave homes where time has quietly stopped. Once alive with merchants, mystics, and whispers of war, these empty hollows now echo with wind, pigeons, and the occasional shepherd's call from far below. But Uchisar was never truly forgotten. It simply hid in plain sight, overshadowed by nearby Gorum and Cappadocia's hot air balloons. Yet its silence holds a deeper magic. At sunrise, light pours through carved windows like golden breath. At dusk, the whole village melts into the mountain shadow, as if disappearing back into the earth. Deep in the heart of Kyrgyzstan, there's a valley you won't find in any traveler's top 10. It's a place where wildflower meadows roll endlessly into the feet of snow-capped peaks, where time stretches as wide as the sky. This is Yurgalan, and chances are you've never heard of it. Once a fading mining village, Yurgalan was nearly lost to time. As the industry vanished, so did most of its people. But the valley didn't disappear. It waited. And what's left is a living postcard from another era, untouched, uncrowded, and wildly alive. There are no luxury resorts here, no glassy airports or massive highways, just dirt paths, rusted rooftops, and alpine trails carved by shepherds. But when the morning sun hits the frost-kissed grass, the entire valley glows gold, as if the earth itself is exhaling. Visitors who find it often come on horseback or not at all. They speak of the silence, a kind that's not empty, but full of wind, full of birdsong, full of a world that never needed to be loud to be beautiful. And the village still breathes. You'll find a handful of homes standing proud against the cold, smoke curling from chimneys, children running with mountain dogs. It's not abandoned. It's simply removed from everything we thought we needed. Beneath the scorched plateaus of southern Tunisia, where the sun paints the desert in endless shades of gold, lies a village carved directly into the earth. From above, you might miss it entirely, but beneath your feet, Matmata lives on. This is not just a village, it's a labyrinth. Homes, hallways, and courtyards hollowed out of soft sandstone, forming circular sinkholes that descend into cool, shaded silence. Here, the Berber people built a world to hide from the heat and from time itself. Many of these troglodyte homes are still inhabited. Generations live quietly underground, where temperatures remain steady even as the desert above blisters under the sun. It feels ancient, not ruined, not broken, just preserved in stillness. Outside, there are no neon signs or crowds, just dry wind brushing over craters and cave mouths. But inside, painted arches, patterned rugs, and echoing voices. This is a living museum of a culture the modern world forgot to modernize. In the heart of Japan's snow-covered mountains, there's a village that feels like it was stitched together from memory and myth. Shirakawa-go is known to some, but what most never see lies deeper, beyond the tourist trails, where time no longer moves forward. Step past the souvenir stalls and you'll find a part of the village that doesn't even try to be seen. Hidden among trees and rising mist, the oldest homes stand quietly, their thatched roofs sloping like folded hands in prayer, built without nails and untouched for centuries. These houses, known as Gasho Zukuri, are masterpieces of quiet resilience. Designed to withstand brutal mountain winters, their architecture is both spiritual and functional. Some are still occupied, others sit empty, but never feel abandoned. Here, light filters through snow-dusted branches and wood smoke curls gently into the cold air. You hear no traffic, no voices, only the creak of timber, the hush of wind, and the distant whisper of a stream passing beneath old footbridges. These hidden sections of Shirakawa-go are not part of the brochure, and that's what makes them magic. They remain preserved not by fences or signs, but by reverence, as though the village itself has chosen to protect what still matters. You've seen its postcard face, a mirrored village on still water, mountains rising like a dream behind it. But Hallstatt has another side, one the world doesn't photograph. Follow the stone paths upward, beyond the crowded docks, and you'll enter a version of Hallstatt the world quietly forgot. Here the air sharpens, the voices fade. You find yourself surrounded by timber cottages clinging to cliffs, silent and unmoving, like they've been holding their breath for a century. These high trails don't lead to shops or viewpoints. They lead to silence, to stillness. Time here doesn't flow, it echoes. Past lives linger in moss-lined steps, worn wooden fences, and shuttered windows leaning into the wind. There's no grand ruin here, no dramatic abandonment, just a gentle retreat, as if the upper village never wanted to be remembered. In the distance, the lake reflects a version of Hallstatt the world knows. But up here, it's different. Mist slides between rooftops like ghosts revisiting their homes. Church bells toll in the valley below, but they arrive here muted, as if softened by memory. Few tourists ever climb this high. Fewer still notice the signs of life that remain. A flickering candle behind antique glass, a bicycle left beneath an aging stairwell, a trail of footsteps fading into the forest beyond. Hallstatt isn't abandoned, but something about this place feels forgotten on purpose. High in the shadow of the Himalayas, where the air grows thin and time slows to a whisper, there lies a place most maps don't even mention, the Sum Valley of Nepal. It's not easy to find and even harder to forget. This is not just a village. It's an entire world that seems untouched by the present. Once a restricted zone, the valley remained closed to outsiders until the early 2000s. What it preserved during that silence is astonishing. Ancient Buddhist monasteries balanced on cliff edges, trails carved by foot and prayer, and a rhythm of life powered not by clocks, but by ritual. The villages here, places like Chokhangparo and Nile, don't look built so much as placed gently between the clouds. Stone homes, fluttering prayer flags, and tiered barley fields rise and fall with the land. From a distance, they vanish into the mountain, more dream than structure. Locals still speak the ancient Sumba dialect. Electricity is rare. Roads are non-existent. Yak herders and monks pass each other in silence on misty trails as if trading stories without words. This is a place where modern life feels like a rumor. At the edge of the North Atlantic, surrounded by sheer cliffs and endless sky, there is a village that feels like the last breath of the world. Ghasadalur, quiet, cold, and so remote that for most of its life, even the locals couldn't reach it. For centuries, the only way in or out was a steep climb over the mountains. There were no roads, no cars, no easy paths. Just wind, grass, and stone. A journey so punishing that some villagers chose to never leave, and many never came back. And yet, Ghasadalur is breathtaking, not in spite of its isolation, but because of it. Its handful of turf-roofed houses sit between ocean and cliff, where seabirds circle like ghosts and waterfalls tumble into the sea below, as if time itself is melting. In 2004, a single tunnel was carved through the mountain, finally connecting Ghasadalur to the outside world. But by then, it was almost too late. Most of the village had already emptied. The silence had already taken root. Today, just a few people live here. They tend to the land. They watch the storms. They listen to the wind speak old names. There are no shops, no hotels, no attractions. Only a view so surreal, it feels like the setting of a forgotten legend. High in the emerald spine of the Philippine Cordilleras lies a village so remote, it doesn't just feel forgotten, it feels hidden on purpose. There are no cars here, no noise, no roads, only stone steps carved by ancestors that rise endlessly through the mountain mist and lead you into Batad. Batad is a living relic. Its rice terraces curve like fingerprints around the slopes, hand-carved thousands of years ago by people who had never seen a city, yet knew how to sculpt mountains. Today, their work still holds water and feeds life. Time in Batad doesn't move like ours. It drips, slowly, softly, from one green terrace to another. You won't find street lights or billboards here, only the rustle of banana leaves, the distant ring of cowbells, and staircases that seem to ascend into clouds. What makes Batad feel forgotten isn't emptiness, it's humility. This is not a place that calls attention to itself. It breathes quietly through morning fog, hides its homes beneath thatched rooftops, and watches the world pass by from 1,000 feet above it. To reach it, you must walk, for hours, through jungle and cliffside, across narrow ledges where the mountain drops below you. But the reward is otherworldly, an amphitheater of life carved into the earth, glowing in shades of green that seem impossible. Everyone knows Cinque Terre, 5 pastel-painted towns perched on Italy's Ligurian cliffs, but few ever look up. Beyond the postcard-perfect harbors and crowded cafes lies something most tourists never notice, a hidden trail leading upward into silence. In Rio Maggiore's upper zone, the world fades. The voices vanish, the ocean becomes a whisper, and cobbled lanes twist into ancient stairways. The buildings here are older, quieter, their shutters closed, their paint faded like memories. You won't find restaurants or souvenir shops here. Instead, you'll find clotheslines swaying between forgotten balconies, sunflowers growing wild from terracotta pots, and doorways that haven't been opened in years. This isn't the Italy you've seen. It's the Italy time forgot. Some of these homes are still lived in, quietly, gently, by people who've never left. Others remain empty, their stone walls holding secrets from generations past. A cat brushes against a crumbling wall. A distant bell tolls from somewhere below. Everything feels paused, not broken, just resting. And when the golden hour comes, the upper village glows like a faded painting. Light pours down the narrow alleys. The rooftops blush with warmth. And you'll realize the most beautiful part of Rio Maggiore isn't where the crowds gather. It's where no one looks. On the far eastern edge of Greenland, surrounded by icy fjords and rugged peaks, lies a town that feels more like a forgotten whisper than a place on a map. Tasiilaq, a tiny Arctic outpost painted in bright colors against a world of endless white. With less than 2,000 residents and no roads connecting it to the rest of the country, Tasiilaq is accessible only by sea or air. In winter, storms isolate it completely. Weeks pass in silence, under snow that swallows sound itself. Yet in this silence, life breathes. Homes cling to frozen cliffs like northern lanterns, casting color into a monochrome landscape. Icebergs drift by as if time itself moves in slow motion here. Dog sleds still run the old trails. Children play under violet Arctic skies. And in the distance, the mountains watch over it all. Stoic, eternal, untouched by the noise of the modern world. At the edge of East Java, tucked between volcanic ridgelines and endless green, lies a cluster of villages that feel like the last outposts of Earth. These are the caldera settlements near Kawaijan, where smoke dances with sunlight and the land breathes beneath your feet. Here homes cling to the mountain's edge, woven into the curves of ancient lava flows. The people live quietly, surrounded by steaming forests and crater lakes that glow in hues no camera can quite capture. You don't stumble into these villages, you ascend to them. In the dead of night, the volcano whispers, not with fire, but with something stranger. Blue flames that rise like spirits from the earth, a natural phenomenon found almost nowhere else on the planet. And just down the slopes, life carries on as if it's all perfectly normal. These caldera communities are not forgotten by disaster or time. They are simply too far, too high, and too surreal for the modern world to keep up. They've remained hidden not because they're gone, but because they never asked to be found. Tucked deep in a Swiss alpine valley, Val's feels like the kind of place built not for tourists, but for silence. Its wooden homes cling to the slopes like secrets, while the mist rolls in like a memory. If time ever decided to rest, it would choose this village. Surrounded by jagged peaks and evergreen forests, Val's isn't abandoned, but it might as well be. Few know its name. Even fewer ever walk its winding stone paths. Yet here, life flows quietly, like the mineral-rich spring that made it famous, long before anyone was watching. The people of Val's still rise with the sun and sleep under star-thick skies. But their village hums at a different frequency. You won't hear car horns here. You won't see neon signs. Only cowbells, stone walls, and the glint of glacier-fed streams cutting through the grass. And then there's the spa. Not the kind with champagne and selfies. This one is carved from quartzite, buried in the earth like a temple. The thermal waters here once healed Roman soldiers. Now they simply wait beneath layers of quiet architecture, invisible to the modern rush. Val's is not forgotten because it was lost. It's forgotten because it never needed to be found. It exists outside the algorithm, beyond the travel brochures, untouched by everything that turned other towns into Instagram backdrops. We've traveled through jungles and glaciers, across ancient stones and into mountain mist, chasing echoes of places the world left behind. But what we found wasn't silence, it was presence. These towns weren't empty, they were waiting. They wait not for crowd, but for those who still listen. Those who search beyond the trending list, beyond convenience, beyond the ordinary. And in return, they offer something rare, wonder. The kind you don't just see, but feel. These villages don't ask to be remembered. They don't demand attention. They simply exist, suspended between past and present, beautiful because they aren't trying to be seen. And maybe that's what makes them unforgettable. As the modern world builds upward and outward, these places remind us of a slower, older rhythm, where time doesn't rush, and the most magical places are the ones without directions. So if these hidden towns stirred something in you, if they made you wonder what else might still be out there, just out of view, then you're one of us. A seeker, a traveler between worlds, and we have more to show you. Subscribe to The Hidden Planet for more journeys like this. Drop a comment and tell us, which place would you vanish into if you could? And share this with someone who's ready to explore where the map ends and mystery begins.